Welcome back to What My Dad Does. If you've been watching previous videos, you'll see that we've fitted the door frame, we've hung the door, we've fitted the door stop, and now today we're doing the handle and the latch. So let's see how we're going to do that. Okay, so firstly I will be fitting a lever on a rose handle and a 3-inch latch. One of these little fellas. So where do you put your door handle? Well, I like to look at the door and decide what would look correct, because we have all different panels on doors and stuff like that, obviously. This is obviously a 5-panel door. I'm going to sit it in the middle of the middle panel, so in the middle of the door, which happens to be a metre off the floor. Now, I think you need to set a handle somewhere between 900mm and 1050mm. Check that online because it does change, but basically this is fine, it's within range, and I think it'll just look nice being central to everything. So how does this work? Well, essentially it's really basic. The handle's got a square hole in it. Between these two square holes goes a square bar. When you turn the handle, it turns the bar, turns the handle the other side, and in between that you have a latch, again with a square hole. Turn the handle and it pulls this back, and you can see the little square hole turning. It's as simple as that, really. So the first thing to fit is the latch. Obviously this hole, it wants to be is direct the center of the handle, so this wants to be where I want, right in the center of the door there. And what you need is a spade bit, the correct diameter. So just make sure when it's cut, it's just cutting the hole, not too tight, because there are moving bits in here, the top and bottom and stuff. You don't want it too tight, otherwise the handle will be really stiff. So just give it millimetre either side, should be fine. And essentially you're going to drill back into this door the depth of that. So I'll mark that with a bit of tape, and I will literally drill back into the door so I can slide this into the edge of that door. Obviously, the big risk you've got is that you don't go into the door square, you go into the door at an angle and you come through the side. Obviously, you don't want to do that. You don't want to ruin a £200 door here. So you just want to literally go straight back where you want your handle, the depth you need it for your latch. You get 2.5, 3 inches, but whatever depth you've got, go all the way back, and then we can clean it up with a chisel, and hopefully that latch will slide back nicely. Let's do that first, and then we'll talk some more. Okay, so that's drilled out, and now I can slide my latch all the way back in there. That's fine. So the next thing to do, obviously, we want this to be flush with the door. So the next thing to do is to hold this in the middle of the width of the door, mark around it, chisel it out, and so it can slide right back. And then we know that's in the correct place and we can go from there. So let's get that bit done first, and then we'll do the next bit. Okay, so that's done, that's recessed, so we're cracking on. So the next thing to do is you need a hole through the door here for this bar to go between the handles either side and to go through the middle of this. So you know where the center of that is. You need to draw it back, or mark where you want, you know, the distance as well. So you know it's going to sit there. You need to drill a hole straight through there, just at the diameter again of this hole, using a spade bit. Just go straight the way through the door. Again, you need to be square because you don't want it at an angle, because one handle is going to be lower than the other handle. So you need to be accurate with all of this stuff. But that's the principle now, is to drill a hole straight away through the hole that's in that latch, so we can put the bar between both handles. So I'll measure that, drill that, and we'll come back. Okay, so that hole is now drilled out. I should just mention what I tend to do there is I tend to drill from both sides. So I'll do this side into the center where the hole is for the latch, and then this side. You don't want to go blasting right the way through the door because, especially on something like this with the veneer, you can just explode that veneer the other side when you come through it. So go half and half, much nicer job. Do it slowly as well. So if you do go through, because obviously once you've drilled one hole one side, this one is probably going to slide right the way through. You don't want it to knock the veneer. Just do it slow. Okay, so that's done. So our latch is going to fit in the door, and our bar is going to go through the latch to the other side, and handle sits either side. You turn the bar, and you can see it turns the latch. It's simple as that. So the next stage, I will screw and fix that in. That's ready to be done. That's finished. And then, obviously, our handles, in the right way up, will go over the spindle. Take that off. They're going to go over the spindle like so. And somehow we need to fix this handle to the door. So they give you various fixings. They give you a bunch of little screws, and also these screws that go into the screw into the other part, other end. So basically, I like to use these. Most carpenters don't like to use these because they're fiddly. They're definitely fiddly. But basically, that side goes through. This screw comes from the other side. And somehow within the door, you've got to meet those two up and screw them together. I like to use them though, because then the handles can't pull apart. I will put that into the bottom screw hole for the simple reason that when I look at my latch, the bottom screw hole is just about the only one which misses the latch. If you're doing a lock, you should see holes in either side of where the spindle goes for these screws to go through. This hasn't actually got any. So I'm just going to do the bottom ones. It's about the only one that really misses all the screw holes. And then in the other holes, I'll put the screws. But I always like to get one of those long screws right the way through because I think it really ties it together. So, like I say, I'm going to screw this in. Put my bar through, slide that on. I'm going to mark that bottom hole. I'm going to drill right the way through, or drill halfway through. Then from this side, drill the other halfway through. Make sure it meets up. Slide them together, screw it in, and then put some screws in the other holes. And basically that's it. So let me do that now, and then I'll come back. Okay, and so that's it. One handle, one latch, all done. The last thing to do is to put the strike plate on here onto the door frame. So how do we do that? I just close the door, mark where the latch comes out, and then I know then where I want this to sit, and I'm going to measure from this face to the back of the latch. That distance is the distance I'm going to measure off of here, back, and I know that's the back of my strike plate. And that way, the door will sit flush to the frame against that and won't wobble around. So I'm going to mark that out, and then I'm going to obviously set that into the woodwork. So I'm going to just mark around it, chisel it out, and then I'm going to use another spade bit to, again, drill that hole out just deep enough for this to fully come out so the handle will pop right level when it's closed. So I'm going to get on with that now. Maybe I'll move the camera so you can see me do that bit. And then we should be done. So let's do that, and then we're finished. And so that's it. The strike plate is on. All that remains is to just check it. Close is nice. The latch extends fully out, and it's not rocking around in there, which it's not. So that's good. So that's it. That's done. So right from the door lining to the hanging the door stop, we've now done the handle and the latch, and that is door complete. Last thing I always like to do is, if you remember, if you watched the video where I hang the door, I said just keep this sheet, so you can just put it back over it. And now when I get on with the painting and I do the mist coat and I spill paint everywhere, it's not going to get on my door. And that's it, complete. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, please leave me a comment and I'll see if I can get back to you. But otherwise, I hope that's given you enough information that you can fit a really professional looking door for yourselves. Thanks ever so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, I'm doing another video next about handles and locks, which is slightly different to a latch. So if you want to watch that one, you should be able to find that on my channel. See you soon.